How Einstein's brain was different. And why was it stolen? He was a genius that left the world stunned by his theories and knew that his brain was under threat. So as a result, he requested that his body be buried after his demise. But unfortunately, there was someone who was much curious about his body and wanted an in-depth study. The doctor then stole the brain and dissected it into 240 small pieces. But even after decades of research, he didn't find anything until one day the study left the world stunned. Einstein was a genius, as we all agree. So much so that his brain would work with more than 1,000 scientists. Things that we had never considered, much less understood, were worked on by Einstein, who made them simple for everyone. Albert Einstein was a physicist who surprised the entire world by publishing the theory of special relativity, defining E=mc2, and creating the photoelectric laws. And therefore, he was awarded the Nobel Prize. Seeing his outstanding thinking and knowledge of power, people believed that Einstein had an exceptional brain that was quite different from an ordinary human. Einstein too knew this, and therefore he didn't want his body to be researched after his demise. Instead, he had requested that his body be cremated. But the same happened which Einstein was afraid of. When Einstein passed away in Princeton Hospital on April 13, 1955, the doctor came to perform the autopsy and stole Einstein's brain secretly, because he was interested to know what was inside this genius's brain. Dr. Thomas Harvey was the physician who stole Albert Einstein's brain because he was more concerned with studying it than with the repercussions. When the Princeton Hospital came to know about this incident, they fired him. However, Dr. Harvey was able to persuade Hans Albert to grant him permission to do research on his father's brain and release the results to the public. That day marked the beginning of a long journey for that brain. Dr. Harvey was a pathologist who knew only about post-mortem. And for that reason, he thought he would be able to study this genius's brain. However, the scenario was that Dr. Harvey lost both his position as a pathologist and his work at Princeton Hospital. He took Einstein's brain to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, where he took a lot of photos of the brain and dissected it into 240 small pieces. He kept each item in its own container and hid them all in his basement. Because of this, it resulted in arguments between him and his wife, as his wife used to threaten him that she will throw his brain outside. The arguments ultimately result in divorce, and Dr. Harvey went to Wichita, Kansas with the brain, where he started working as a medical supervisor. In his spare time, he also tried to understand Einstein's brain here. Following that, he often changed employment and relocated to other cities. Even after many years, Dr. Harvey couldn't do any solid research on Einstein's brain. Instead, his medical license was cancelled. And things got so terrible for him that he was forced to start working in a plastics plant. At the time, he made a good decision, to send different pieces of the brain to the best neurologist in the world for detailed research. And he did that. A study on Einstein's brain was released in 1985, 30 years after the brain was first stolen. For the next 28 years, many neurologists published several studies on this genius's brain. It revealed that Einstein's brain differed significantly from the typical human brain in a number of ways. The biggest difference was found in the corpus callosum part. Now it is important to know that the human brain is divided into two parts. Whatever work a human does, is processed in one part and then the brain sends a signal to that part of the body. While the right brain is in charge of the left side of the body, the left brain is in charge of the right. But how it is related to Einstein's brain and what is the work of corpus callosum? Consider typing with both hands while using a keyboard or a mobile device. The left hand is typing some alphabets, and the right hand is also doing the same. During typing, your left hand made a mistake and you quickly used your right hand to erase that mistake. This indicates that when your right brain made a mistake, it informed your left brain to fix it. The link through which both halves of the brain are connected is called corpus callosum. And Einstein's corpus callosum was larger than ordinary humans. That indicates that the relationship between his left and right brains had a strong connection. As a result, Einstein was able to imagine complicated issues and circumstances. In addition to having a different corpus callosum, Einstein's brain had a distinctive layout, and researchers believe that it was the reason for good neuron flow. His healthy neuronal activity indicated that he had the excellent computational ability. Albert Einstein possessed the ability to resolve challenging mathematical puzzles mentally, without the aid of a calculator. According to a research paper, another reason for having a high number of neurons was that when Einstein's brain was weighted it was 1,230 grams, whereas it is 1,400 grams for normal human beings. His brain is said to have more neurons because the lining of his brain was relatively thin. The largest debate, though, was whether Einstein had such a unique brain from birth or if it developed later. After research, it was found that, when Einstein was born, he started speaking after the age of 5. Even after he started speaking, he didn't like to speak much and remained lost in his own thoughts. He had less memorizing power. Instead of memorizing arithmetic and numbers, he was a master at analyzing them logically. Although he struggled in other subjects in school, he did exceptionally well in math and science. When Albert Einstein was 12 years old, a family teacher left his geometry book in Einstein's house. Unexpectedly, Einstein finished that book in a single day and had his geometrical conception solidified. Additionally, by the age of 14, he attained mastery in integral and differential calculus. His grip on maths and science was so strong that professors used to become nervous when he used to raise his hands for asking questions because often Einstein's questions were difficult for even teachers to understand. From a very young age, he wanted to encapsulate the laws of the universe in a small equation, and this became his life's mission. At the age of 26, Einstein published 4 research papers and made the world surprised. And therefore, he was given a PhD degree and awarded Nobel Prize for playing an outstanding role in humanity. Without Einstein's thesis, science is incomplete. Many doctors and scientists came to the conclusion that Einstein's brain became special after his birth. The biggest reason behind it was when he couldn't find an answer to his questions, he tried to find answers with the help of his brain. Doing so, from a young age, specially developed his brain. Today Einstein's brain is kept in America's Modern Museum, which are preserved with great care in microscopic slides.